Hey there! It can be hard to find volunteer opportunities for kids, especially kids under age 12. But there are plenty of ways that kids can make an impact through community service, and I'm going to share several of them with you today. Welcome back. For those new to my channel, my name is Amber Melanie Smith, and I am a nonprofit executive director and speaker on service, leadership, and social impact. I make these YouTube videos to help aspiring change makers of all ages to figure out tips and strategies to make an impact in the world while living a life of impact and purpose. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I make these videos weekly, and I'd love to see you back and have you check out some of the other great videos I have that will help you figure out your path to change making in the world. I previously made a video about how teens can make a difference through community service, and you can check that out at the link, but I wanted to focus today on younger kids because kids of all ages are out there making an impact and really making a meaningful difference in the world. And when kids are leading the way to create change, it tends to inspire the adults to follow suit. So here we go. I'm going to jump into all the ways that kids can make a difference that I'm going to cover in this video in two different sections. The first is going to be ways that kids ages 5 to 12 is what we're aiming for here, can do service through established organizations out there. And the second set of ideas is for projects that you can do either at home or anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be at an organization, but it can still benefit a cause out there. As I mentioned previously, I work in the nonprofit field, and so my core function actually is to connect people to volunteer opportunities in their community. I work with hundreds of nonprofits, and I have heard of so many different ways for people of all ages to get involved, but it is admittedly more difficult for kids to get involved. So I'm really excited to share a couple of ideas. Here we go. The first thing I want to share is that some organizations have what they call Kids Days. So these are special designated days where kids around this age range are invited and welcome to come with their families. I know in my community, our food bank has this, so a lot of other organizations across the country will have Kids Days too. We're talking about shelters and soup kitchens, food banks, food pantries, Ronald McDonald houses, and other organizations that you would commonly find in your community. Kids will be doing hands-on activities at these projects like sorting and packaging food or clothing donations, or in the case of say Ronald McDonald House, baking, which can be super fun. Another great project for kids that will get everybody outdoors is to do a litter pickup or cleanup with your local nature conservancy or Keep America Beautiful chapter. They will have regular cleanups of the community picking up litter. One of the cool fun things about this is that some of them have litter contests, so you can maybe get a prize for how much litter you can collect, or you might find unusual objects out there. I know when I last led a group of, this was actually teens, doing a litter pickup at a nature trail in my area. They found 100-year-old bottle. So it can be really interesting and spark some cool conversation with you and your kids when you're out there doing these types of activities. Okay, so this is one of my favorites. I know that kids love animals, and I loved animals when I was a kid too. But sometimes shelters in your area will not allow younger kids to volunteer in the more traditional capacities at a shelter. So a cool new service project that I've seen emerging lately is reading to shelter pets. It's a great way for kids to practice their reading skills and also get to interact with the animals in a beneficial way. So that is a super cool project, and I'd love to see you all try that out. A quick disclaimer that it is possible that your local shelter will not already have reading to shelter animals on its list of existing volunteer needs, so you might need to propose that idea to them, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be open to it because it is so cute. Another great service opportunity for kids is, of course, having a game or art day at a retirement community. All throughout the year, but especially around the holidays, some seniors in retirement communities are feeling especially isolated, and they might not have family nearby or might not have family at all. So being willing to go in and just spend some quality time and be present and be a friend to a senior in need is a wonderful way for your kids to volunteer. Another idea with established organizations is a little bit out of the box, but it would allow kids to use the technology that they're so comfortable with now to help a cause in need, and that is to be a storyteller or reporter for a cause. So all you would have to do is work with your child using a phone to interview an organization's clients or other volunteers, and let your child interview them about the experience, what they know about the cause, how making a difference is so important to the community for that cause. So nonprofits love to have social media and storytelling and video clips that they can use to spread the word about what they do. So having your kid lead these interviews would be so adorable. And I know for my nonprofit, I would just die to have something like that, because having the perspective of a kid telling the story of a cause would be so impactful. Of course, an added benefit of having your child be a reporter for a cause is that they learn all about the cause too. And actually, just a quick note on that topic, one thing that is really important to do with your child, with your family after volunteering, no matter what kind of volunteer experience you're having, is to have a conversation. It's to reflect on the experience, to talk about it, to ask your kid questions about what they saw, what they felt about what they saw. Doing this will really help them understand the meaning of the volunteer work that they have done and hopefully inspire them to continue it into adulthood. Okay, so now I'm going to get into some do-it-yourself or at-home service projects you can do with your kid. These are great for whether or not you can find an opportunity with an established organization. They are very convenient and sometimes just require a little bit of supplies and planning. The first do-it-yourself project is to make flashcards for a younger classroom. So these can be anything from multiplication or division to studying a particular science or language topic, but what we hear from the schools that we work with at my nonprofit is that teachers are really in need of extra resources to help out their kids. So flashcard kits that every student in a class can use would be really, really helpful. Plus, then your kids get a refresher on those topics too. Another at-home idea that is super fun, especially for the crafty families out there, is to make kindness rocks. All you need are some of those smooth pebbles you can get at most home supply stores or gardening stores, or maybe even in your yard, and some acrylic water-based paint, and you can just paint the rock whatever color you'd like or multiple colors, and then write inspirational words and designs on the rocks. A lot of hospitals, community centers, or even schools are using these to beautify their outside areas and inspire people when they walk by. A third idea that is also in a crafty vein is Plarn. I just learned about Plarn. I think it's super cool. Plarn is basically plastic yarn. So what people are doing is taking old plastic grocery bags, which I know are just completely overwhelming my pantry right now, and probably yours too. You take them, you cut them into strips, and then you can actually crochet them into other things like more sturdy bags or mats that can be donated to a shelter for folks experiencing homelessness. This has been a great project that I've personally seen done with kids in my community. If you're interested, I can leave a link to where you can learn more about how to do that in my description below. The fourth idea is to combine something you might already be doing with helping a cause, and that is to have a birthday party for a cause. So you would ask your friends to bring some kind of donated items such as canned food or clothing or other items that a nonprofit you want to benefit has identified as a need, and you'd ask your friends or your kids' friends to bring those items in lieu of a birthday present. This is a great way to have your kid think about what cause they want to help as part of their birthday celebrations and drive that conversation around change and how to support the cause. In the winter or summer, a great thing to do is to have a hot cocoa or a lemonade stand in your front yard to raise money for a cause you care about. So again, the kids can identify the cause that they care about and what they'd like to raise money for. They can drive the whole effort to make the hot cocoa, the lemonade, and collect the money outside from your neighbors. And it's just a really, really fun way to practice so many things, from learning about money to being a great salesperson to how important it is to help a cause financially as well as giving your time. My dog's really cute right now. She's having a dream and her little paws are twitching. The next do-it-yourself project is to make cards for kids in the hospital or seniors experiencing isolation and loneliness. There are many organizations out there who work directly with these populations, so you just need to connect them to figure out how to get cards to them that they can distribute to those kids or seniors. Another super fun twist on this project is to make it social. So your kids can invite all their friends over and have a coloring and card making party for the folks in need. And if you're kids and you are not that artistic, that's okay. There are lots of templates online that you can print out that have color in designs that are also greeting cards. So you can print those out and then just make it a coloring party instead of a card making or artistic drawing party, and then have your kids write a nice message inside the card, and boom, you've got some beautiful cards to give to people who would love to hear from a friend. The next idea is to make pet bandanas and care kits for pets in the shelter. So a lot of shelter and animal rescue organizations love to have cute little things like bow ties and bandanas and just things to make their animals look even more adorable to increase their odds of getting adopted. And this is super easy to make at home. You can find templates and instructions for how to make these bandanas out of old shirts or fabric that you have and some fabric paint, and write things like adopt me or I love snuggles or something really cute like that, and then give those to the shelter. And if you want to go a step further, you can collect things like pet toys or snacks or food to include in a care kit for the animals as well. Another creative way that you can help animals in shelters get adopted is, if you are artistic, you could have your family draw portraits of the dogs and the cats and the other animals who are up for adoption. So I'm talking hand-drawn, colored in portraits of these pets that the shelters can put next to the pets in their kennels at the shelters and also share online. How cute is that? Who knows? You might fall in love with the animal your kids have drawn. You might have to take them home. My final do-it-yourself at-home service project idea is a little bit different, and that is to help teach your kids about not just finance, but helping other people through allowing them to donate their allowance to a microfinance organization. And before your eyes glaze over, let me explain. Microfinance is this idea that has really taken over the nonprofit and social enterprise world over the past couple of years, that is about having everyday people make small investments in people in underdeveloped countries and in their businesses. So we're talking about organizations like the Grameen Bank, or one of my favorites, Kiva. You can make an investment as low as $20 or $25 in someone else's business across the world to help them pull themselves out of poverty. So they're taking these small investments and they're putting them back into their business, whether it is agricultural, raising animals that they sell, or making clothing, things that will help them grow as a business so that they can take better care of their families. This has been a really dignified way of allowing people who have the means to support people in other areas of the world that are less developed. The cool thing is, when you make an investment in one of these businesses through a nonprofit like Kiva, you actually get the loan repaid. So if your child donates their allowance to a business that they pick, they can see the people on the Kiva website and choose who they want to invest in. Then the majority, like 99% of these loans, are getting paid back by the people who have now grown their business and started to lift themselves out of poverty. Then your kid can reinvest that allowance in someone else's business and continue the ripple effect in making a difference. So it's a little bit more of a sophisticated type of service project, but it could be really interesting to talk about in terms of financial literacy and allowing them to pick exactly which family and business idea from someone in some other part of the world for themselves. Okay, so those are all of my ideas for now. I would love to hear about your ideas though. What are you doing with your kids in this age range to make an impact in the world? What has been the most fun for your kids and for your family? And what has made the biggest difference in your community? I'd love to hear about it. Share in the comments below. I'm going to include a few links about some of the things that I talked about in my description, so be sure to check that out. And once again, don't forget to subscribe because I make weekly videos on social impact, service leadership, nonprofits, and more. If you're on Facebook, don't forget to check out my group, Change the World or Bust. I'm having conversations with change makers from around the world there on how we can all work together to make a bigger impact in our communities. Thanks again for watching and see you next time.